Who are electors? An inside look of 2020 Georgia's electors and their voting process. Probably the most divisive election in American history is the 2020 presidential election. The president is not chosen directly in the United States. The president will instead be chosen by a 538-member electoral college. Each political party in each state selects its own delegates. Their names do not appear on the general election ballots. The majority of voters are unaware of who these electors are. We'll get a close-up look at Georgia's 16 electors in this video. Georgia has 2 senators and 14 members of the House. Georgia currently has 16 electors in the Electoral College as a result. In the 2020 presidential election, 3 political parties took part. 16 people were pre-selected by each political party as potential electors. So, there are 3 sets of 16 electors in waiting. Historically, Georgia has been a Republican state. A record number of individuals cast ballots in the 2020 election, which led to close outcomes. Biden won Georgia by 0.23%, or 11,779 ballots, following a hand recount. Joe Biden receives all of Georgia's electoral votes under the winner-take-all system. 7 African Americans, 7 former or current federal or state legislators, 3 municipal leaders, and a number of lawyers or community activists were among the 16 Democratic electors, who were split equally between men and women. Many were longtime Georgia Democratic Party district chairs and activists. Each elector will cast 2 separate paper ballots, one for the presidency and one for the vice presidency. The electors will then count the votes for each candidate of each office and create 6 certificates of vote that list all individuals that receive votes for the 2 offices. The 6 certificates of vote are then certified by the electors. 1 is sent to the President of the United States Senate, Vice President Mike Pence, 2 are sent to the Georgia Secretary of State, 2 are sent to the Archivist of the United States, and 1 is sent to the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia.
Legally had and held on no and reviewed and transmitted. As I call your name, please state the name of the person for whom you cast your vote for president. I will start by stating that I cast my vote for President Joe Biden. Gloria Butler. Wendy Davis. Bobby Fuse. Deborah Gonzalez. Steve Henson. Van Johnson. Pedro Marin. Vanika Miller. Ben Myers. Rachel Paul. Calvin Smyrie. Bob Trammell. Sachin Varghese. Nikema Williams.
I cast my vote for President Joe Biden.
Kathy Woolard. pleased to announce that Joseph R. Biden has received 16 votes for President of the United States.
Each elector will sign the certificate of votes after casting their individual ballots. The Senate President, Vice President Mike Pence, will receive a sealed copy of the certificate. Ironically, on the same day, the Democratic electors met to sign their votes. The 16 Republican electors elected also gathered inside the state Capitol building and signed a certificate of vote for Trump and Pence. They claimed they were duly elected electors and the election had been stolen and fraudulent. The investigation of this attempt to subvert 2020 presidential election has been initiated by Fulton County DA's office in June 2022. Trump supporters gathered outside Capitol Hill on January 6, the day Congress convened to certify the Electoral College votes, and stormed the building to disrupt the proceedings. Both police and demonstrators lost their lives. Once the National Guard and local law enforcement agencies had restored order, Congress later restarted its certification procedure.
Hearing none, this certificate from Georgia, the parliamentarians advised me, is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state, and that has annexed to it a certificate from an authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Georgia seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the state of Delaware received 16 votes for president, and Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 16 votes for vice president.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Georgia rise?
Mr. President, myself, members of the Georgia delegation, and some 74 of my Republican colleagues, and I object to the electoral votes from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the election conducted on November 3rd was faulty and fraudulent due to unilateral actions by the Secretary of State to unlawfully change the state's election process without approval from the General Assembly, and thereby setting the stage for an unprecedented amount of fraud and irregularities, and I have signed the objection myself.
Sections 15 and 17 of Title III of the United States Code require that any objection be presented in writing and signed by a member of the House of Representatives and a senator.
In the end, Donald Trump received 232 votes in the Electoral College, while Joe Biden received 306 votes. The official declaration of Biden as the winner of the 2020 presidential contest.
That some senators have withdrawn their objection.
Joe Biden took office as the 46th President of the United States on January 20, 2021.
In that case, the objection cannot be entertained.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
That I will
Thanks for watching.
execute
Please like and subscribe this channel, and post your comments below.
President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability,
Will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.